Okay, I don't need to be visible on the screen. I'm going to speak from here. First about me. My name is Angelina Ilieva, PhD. I'm an assistant professor at the Institute of Technology and Folklore Studies, Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. I am a Larp scholar. I've been researching Larp since 2008, and currently I'm running a postdoc research project entitled Larp Culture Between and Beyond. I'm studying Larps as a nodal point of different kinds of interaction between players, texts, genre, media, and so on. And I'm writing a book about Larps right now. Okay. Larp in Southeastern Europe. Why do we need such a discussion? When I came up with the idea about this discussion, Ivan told me that it would probably barely scratch the surface, and he's absolutely right. But we should start from somewhere. 2 years ago, in Finland, Markus Montola told me that it took 4 years for them, entire circle of knutepunkts around all the Nordic countries, simply to develop a common language for Larp. So I think we need to put some efforts on this. What do we mean in LARPing, role-playing character, NPC, plot, setting? Last year in Zagreb, we discovered that, for example, NPC is something very different in Croatia, Bulgaria, and Hungary. I think we can utilize both similarities and differences. Similarities could be utilized as a source for mutual understanding and support, and differences could be utilized as a pool for new ideas, methods, solutions, and so on. So I tried to outline 5 general topics and to map up a Larp culture in general. They are all huge. They are all biased by my own research. And I will be happy if we could scratch the surface. But we need to start from somewhere. And I'm going to start by presenting a bit Bulgarian Larp culture. Okay. First of all, I think that genesis and tradition in Larp culture are very important, no matter if we still follow the tradition or strive against it or try to completely forget it. Traditions always matter. It is important to speak about who the first Larpers were, because they usually define the main genre in a Larp culture. We need to speak about what was the original meaning of LARPing, because it defines our primary styles. And we need to speak about how the first LARPers organized their first games. For example, Bulgarian Larp culture is probably among the youngest in Eastern Europe. We started LARPing 10 years ago. First LARPers were science fiction and fantasy fans, and we were strongly influenced by a very peculiar scouting school. It is called PoRtaL, a private Proto-Bulgarian school for martial arts and horsemanship. There were just a few players from this school, but they somehow marked the overall appearance of Bulgarian LARP culture for years. LARPing meant fighting in the woods, and it still means that for many players. Actually, recently a guy came up with the idea that those players who go LARPing and refuse to fight should be punished. Of course, he was ridiculed, but the idea speaks in itself. The first games were military games outside the cities, and they have very simple systems: Mordor vs. Gondor and Capture the Flag. Flags are still very important in Bulgarian LARPs. If you come and you don't have a banner, you could be banned from the game, because you should have a banner. We really missed tabletop role-playing here. I think we really missed it, because Bulgarian LARP culture is still very, how to say, physical. We don't have that much mechanics and meta techniques, and the very concept of role-playing is very, very physical. I mean, you do what you are really capable to do. The second general topic, it is huge, but this is our favorite, because every time we meet players from different countries, we immediately start discussing this. Structures and power. In-game and out-of-game. What kind of genre we have, who creates the settings, who creates characters, what kind of roles we have, plots, rituals, everything, the synchronous analysis. And of course, out-of-game structures, groups, and leadership. In Bulgaria, they are very important. They're stable. I will speak about them a bit later. And metagaming structures, such as rules, techniques, briefings, workshops, debriefings. For example, in Bulgaria, we have extensive pre-game briefings, and we very rarely have debriefings after the game. We are familiar with this concept, but we just don't do it. And I think it is very important to know what exactly a GM and an NPC means, and what kind of power they have over our games. Until 2 years maybe, the biggest Bulgarian LARPs relied strongly on NPCs, and then they were completely removed. It is a very dramatic turn in our LARPs. Okay, a bit more about Bulgarian LARP culture. We have different kinds of genre. Of course, medieval fantasy is the mainstream, but we have science fiction, such as the Stalker LARP series, steampunk, horror, vampire LARPs, Western murder mystery, and Blood Bowl tournaments. But the mainstream is medieval fantasy. We have this very, well, for many years I believe it is unique characteristic for Bulgarian LARP culture, LARP clans. But then last year I went to Croatia and I discovered that they used to have the same structures about 10 years ago. LARP clans are stable formations. They are much more real social structures than fictional ones. They are a group of players who tend to play together, and they tend to develop their own microculture their uniform appearance, ideology, behavior, and so on. And Bulgarian Larp culture is very, very competitive. Actually, all of these clans compete with each other in many respects, including organizing Larps, which is not a good thing. Our game masters have absolute power over the game. They decide everything, including what happened into the game. I mean, they could deny that something happened. This is my clan, Warriors of the Seven Hills. We are the youngest clan in Bulgaria. I'm very happy with it. And we're still growing. A lot of mighty warriors and me. The third general topic, nouns and values. I tried to write some of them, but I'm sure there will be much, much more. Which is more valued, competitive or collaborative play, game or play, actually, big Larps or small ones, rules or free interaction, scripting or improvisation, collective or individual experience, appearance or performance, win or fun. And because I know that Larp culture is never homogeneous, this is a picture of a small Larp. There is a small group of players in this city, Varna, and everything they do is completely at odds to the mainstream culture. They always organize small games indoors. They always try to experiment with genre, structures, interaction. The perfect victim was a Larp. Well, it was announced as murder mystery Larp, but the setting tried to completely reverse the usual plot in genre. I mean, when in a typical murder mystery we have one killer and everybody is trying to find him or her. In this game, everybody was a killer, and they all tried to find one victim, the perfect victim. It was a really good game. Fourth general topic, influences. It is a paradox, but mainstream Bulgarian Larps are much less influenced by the group in Varna than from similar hobbies such as historical reenactment groups, board gamers, and airsofters. Of course, we live in a mediated, globalized world, and we are trying to play with Larpers from different countries, so many kinds of influences could happen, and they are all important. You might know these guys. They come and play in Bulgaria 3 or 4 years. No, I don't remember. Last year they came in Bulgaria and they met our king, my king, the king of the Seven Hills, and they disapproved him. And they insisted on he to resign and to be replaced with another person. I don't know what to say, but influences are always important. And the fifth general topic, conflicts and crises. I strongly recommend the excellent ethnographic study by Sarah Bowman, published in International Journal of Role Playing, issue 4. Bulgarian Larp culture is hardly a modern one. It is a very traditional one. It is gamistic, competitive, and we are running campaign-style games, and we experience a lot of conflicts and crises. We don't usually have debriefings, but we always discuss our games online, and they usually become a foreign wars. We have this "my LARP is better than your LARP" syndrome, and this is again part of the competition between clans, because the recent games are organized by entire groups who are usually entire clans, and when we compete with other clans, we go to their games and we don't like them because our LARPs are better than theirs. It is a complete disaster. And of course, the demographic dynamics are very important, because who quit gaming and who could completely change the overall LARP culture. And it is very important who is doing the recruitment. Right now, players are recruited for clans, not for the LARP itself. And I don't think this is something good. But one of the games which experienced a good post-game debriefing and party, and was considered a very successful game, of course. This is a good way to cope with conflicts and crises, but I don't know why we don't do it. And thank you. I hope I saved time for discussion. Okay.
I'm Miklós from Hungary, and you mentioned that you don't really have pen and paper role playing in Bulgaria. Did I understand it correctly? We have, but they didn't influence our LARP culture at all. Almost at all. Actually, recently we, some pen and paper players came to LARPs, and they try, of course, to improve the game mechanics and rules. But no, they didn't contribute a lot to our culture.
Hi, Anna. I would like to ask your opinion whether it's better to apply game mechanics from these tabletop games or to develop them for LARPs from scratch.
I think both have their advantages and disadvantages. For example, tabletop LARPing and, well, I believe mostly computer RPGs influenced our magic system. But still, magicians are not very popular. I mean, nobody loves magicians because if you are a mighty warrior, you need to work hard for years to become a very good one, and then girl comes and kills you instantly, and you are not happy. Of course. But magic is, what to say, it introduces colors to the games. Without magic, we would be just another group of historical reenactments or scouting or something like that. I think he was.
Hello, I'm Tomas from Hungary, and well, this might be an interesting question. I'd like to ask that how did the committee accept this thesis? You said that you had started LARPing 10 years ago, and they are this open, because I think here in Hungary it would be almost impossible to do this for a PhD thesis.
Well, personally, I started LARPing when I started researching LARPs, and I was really warmly welcomed into the LARP community. But I have this science fiction and fantasy fandom background, so many of LARP players know me, and probably this was crucial.
Perhaps I have put my words wrong. I meant at the university. The committee who accepts your thesis and starts your PhD career. How did all the researchers, the professors, accept this as your thesis?
They loved it.
So they
loved it. Yeah. It is not easy. Bulgarian Academy of Sciences and Bulgarian academic circles are very conservative. I must admit it. But I don't experience any difficulties. Actually, they encouraged me to continue working on this subject because it is new, it is modern, and we know virtually nothing about it. So this is the academic logic. Do we know everything about something, or little, or not at all? Everything else is political logic, actually, and it is not easy to get funding, for example. It is really hard because LARPs and LARPing and all the other hobbies are not institutionally important, and it is hard, but we know nothing about them, so somebody should do this research. This is the academic logic.
This last question. Beside the American texts you mentioned, do you use some Nordic, Italian, German, Polish, or other texts and your works, and which of them are useful for you at this moment of LARPing history in Bulgaria? Because the most texts that are created are about chamber LARPs or Nordic LARPs or very basic LARPing, which is very different than the LARPs you are describing now.
Okay. I approach LARPs mostly from the semiotic point of view, and there are several excellent papers based on the semiotic approach published in Knut books, and I use general theory. But I need to develop my own, because you are right. The two cultures are very different. Yeah.
Hi, from Hungary. You mentioned that the NPCs disappeared after a day. Would you care to guess that maybe this happened on an outside influence, or it was somehow a common decision? Or maybe what caused this? Because in Hungary there are still NPC heavy games and not so NPC heavy games, and games which the player make all the content. So how will this happen? What do you think?
It is very complex, very complex because for many years the biggest Larp events relied on NPCs. NPCs that means neutral player characters. Actually, there are no monsters in our games. NPCs in Bulgarian games are players who support the simulation. NPC is the king and his court and his guards. NPCs are the innkeeper, blacksmith, NPCs are girls, dancers, prostitutes. We have this kind of NPCs. So they made the simulation in our games. But suddenly, the leading organizers in Bulgaria somehow decided that they don't want more NPCs in their games. They tried to introduce free-form Larps, but by free-form they understand that organizers won't provide any content at all, that everything depends on players. And the first several free-form Larps were considered complete failure because many players came and they were bored to death. And now many groups started really to provide content to the Larps, and I don't know what will happen. But for example, the last autumn Larp, a group decided to build an entire fortress. Just did it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter from Hungary, and and this question might be a tangent, but I kind of find your previous presentation about the Stalker Larp at odds with your references somehow what came through in this presentation. So, like Stalker Larp, I understood as a one night shoot as many mutants in the dark as you can, adrenaline high fun, and that's not the same kind of fun I guess you were aiming at here right now. Am I seeing this wrong, or how that?
Yes and no. The Stalker Larp series are different, yes, but they are still gamistic.
Yeah.
Because everybody is trying to survive there into the zone. Don't have any NPCs, and it is actually again a team competition between stalkers who are inhabiting a bar called Purgatory. The corporation group, who is trying to discover all of the artifacts in zone and to make profit on it. The mutants who have their own layer, and again they try to survive. And yes, it is different, but in many respects it follows the tradition.
Yeah, I was aiming at the fact that you described Stalker Larp as a very successful indie game. And I had the impression that you liked it very much.
Yes.
But in this presentation, you I guess you were aiming at something different than the team-based competition, which is very gamistic, and maybe I'm just reading things into it, but yeah, I had the impression right now that you were talking about changing this gamistic approach a little bit, like the one president
I'd love this if this gamistic approach at least be slowed down. Well, I love LARPing, no matter it is. I love LARPing, but I will be happy if Bulgarian LARP culture discover another directions. And of course, I always compete with Nordic LARPs, and German LARPs, and Russian LARPs, and Croatian LARPs. And maybe now I'm going to learn a lot about Hungarian LARPs. And I just want, and I just hope that we would have more opportunities in Bulgaria, more options. I want more diverse scene. I don't like it homogeneous in this way, and that's why I'm going, and I don't miss any opportunity to go to Varna and play with this small group. And I don't miss any opportunity to go to PoRtaL and play with you. So, but guys, I don't heard anything about your own culture. I mean, this was the aim of this discussion, and I will be happy if at least a little bit you contribute to it.